What's going on, guys? It's Dramon, and if you are wondering what this is in my hands, today's your lucky day because this right here is a Seasons Creator Premium Game Ball. And as you could tell, it's one of the most unique balls out there. Not only does it come in this crazy design and a bunch of different colors, but it performs just as good as any other premium ball on the market today. So if you want to be that guy in the gym whose basketball looks like nobody else's, go ahead and hit that link in the bio. I've been absolutely loving my ball. It's been working out for me great. But if you don't want to take my word for it, just remember, ball don't lie. Curry 5. You guys are gonna want to hear what I have to say about these. What's going on, guys? It's Dramon, and we are back with another performance review. Today we're going to be reviewing Stephen Curry's fifth signature model with the brand, the Under Armour Curry 5. Now before we get started with the review, I kind of got to give you guys a warning or whatever you want to call it. This is not going to be a good review for the Curry 5. And I'm telling you this right off the bat because A, I don't want you guys to feel like I'm picking on Under Armour as a brand, because I'm not. I love Under Armour. I enjoy their products. I enjoy their technology. I even enjoy the Steph Curry signature line itself, but I don't have to love everything that they put out, as is the case with the Curry 5. And it's also my duty to let you guys know whether or not a product performs well and if you should spend your hard-earned money on it. And I'm also telling you this because I think it's very important, more than any other sneaker that I've reviewed in the past, that you stick around for the whole review, because there's a lot of things about this sneaker that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. And if you are on the fence on trying to figure out whether or not you should pick these up with your own money, I think it's very important that you hear what I have to say to help you make a purchasing decision. So now that I've kind of warned you about what I'm about to say about it, let's get started with the review. And let's start with the thing that stood out the most, and unfortunately, it's a very big issue. Now this problem actually occurred within 2 hours of me putting these on. Everything was fine up until that second hour where I started to feel some irritation on my medial midfoot right around this area. At first I thought it was just maybe some irritation, maybe a little bit of a rash, nothing too major. But when I took the shoe off and I took my sock off, I realized that it was a big fat blister. Now I don't have to tell you guys how badly blisters hurt, but this blister in particular, I don't know what the deal was. It was absolutely killing me. It actually affected my daily life. Putting on other sneakers, casual sneakers, hurt my foot, and it was all thanks to whatever was happening here, which I'm not sure what the cause of the blister was, because the materials here are just a knit. It's a thread-borne material. It's not particularly coarse or rugged. It's a soft knit, so I'm not sure what happened that made me get this blister. Maybe it's this midsole design digging up into my midfoot, because that is where the blister occurred. And I actually asked you guys if you had the same problem as well on Instagram, and a couple people reported back that they as well were getting blisters, including Nightwing, the godfather of sneaker reviews himself. He said he was getting blisters in the same area and he actually couldn't play in the sneaker anymore because of it. So obviously this is a huge red flag for anyone trying to figure out whether or not they should pick these up. I can't say it's an isolated issue because, again, people did report back to me saying they did get blisters as well. But I also can't say that if you pick these up, you're guaranteed to get a blister, because that's just not true. But I do have to warn you of the risk that you may or may not get a blister, and it's up for you to decide whether or not that risk is worth taking. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the traction. Now, this is a very interesting setup. As you can see, it uses a dual rubber compound. You got a translucent rubber on most of the outsole with what Under Armour is calling a squaring circle made out of a solid rubber compound right in the middle of the forefoot. Now, in my opinion, this is easily the worst traction setup that I've ever experienced in the Curry signature line. My problem with this particular setup is that you could definitely tell the difference in grip and tackiness between the translucent rubber compound and the solid rubber compound that's used in the squaring circle. Now, both rubber compounds do pick up a ton of dust, but this really only seems to have an effect on the translucent portion of the outsole, because if you're not wiping constantly, you'll initially feel some slippage until your foot actually strikes that squaring circle. That's when things start to tighten up and lock you down. So had the entire outsole been made of solid rubber, I think that this traction setup would have been fantastic. But as they sit right now, it's an inconsistent setup at best. As for the fit, Under Armour sneakers have been fitting me slightly big lately, but I did decide to go with my true size in the Curry 5, which is a 10.5. And I have to say, that was the right decision because the forefoot fit, everything was fine, everything was perfect, no complaints there. But the midfoot, it was pretty tight. So if I did go half a size down, this midfoot, it would just be unbearable no matter how I would lace them up. So if you are a wide footer, if you classify yourself as having a wide foot, I would just skip these completely because again, that midfoot was already tight. And like I talked about in the earlier part of this video, I did receive a blister in my midfoot, so maybe this midfoot tightness had something to do with that. I can't confirm, but I'm just saying, if you got a wide foot, pass on these. Now moving along to the materials, I was actually very excited to see what Under Armour had to offer here because I was told that this was going to be an anafoam and thread-borne setup, but after playing in these, I'm not entirely convinced that this overlay is actually anafoam. If you take a look at Under Armour's product DNA on the official website for this sneaker, it does not say anything about anafoam, and it certainly does not feel like anafoam whatsoever. It actually bowed inward in the forefoot, kind of like a U shape right here, and it dug into the top of my foot. It wasn't a painful feeling, but it definitely was an irritating sensation that did not feel like an extension of my foot. It felt like my foot was invading a space that it was not supposed to be in. Now the last two things I want to talk about, I know I've been really negative about this shoe, but these are actually two positive features in my mind, and that is the support as well as the cushioning. Now you guys know already, the cushioning in the Curry 4 was a huge negative for me. It caused me severe knee and back pain, but I can happily report that I have none of these issues with the Curry 5. In fact, I actually felt a slight improvement with the cushioning's responsiveness. It actually felt like I was getting a little bit of a bounce back effect when I was moving around out there on the floor. So overall, it is an improvement. It's not a huge improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. But you can still get better options out there, especially at the same or similar prices. Take for instance the PG2 with this top-loaded zoom, or even the Dame 4 with this bounce cushioning. The Curry 5 is on the lower end when it comes to value, but again, it is an improvement than what was used on the 4. Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about the support. It is a low top, and a lot of you guys are saying because it's a low top, Steph is getting injured, he's not gonna be able to play in it because of his ankle injuries. Just because a sneaker is a low cut, that has very little or nothing to do at all with how it supports you. Not once did I feel like I was in danger of rolling an ankle or I felt like it didn't have enough support features. It is a minimal setup, but it isn't flimsy whatsoever. So overall, the support I thought was solid. Could it have been beefier? Yes. If you want a high top, you're obviously not gonna wanna get these. And if you feel like you need a lot of support features, this isn't the best option, but it will give you all the support features that you do need to stay safely on your feet. Okay, so to wrap things up, obviously, that's not a good review for the Curry 5. I realize that, but it really is confusing how this sneaker got past its initial testing stage because it really does feel like this is made specifically for one person, that one person being Steph, and while that does make sense because this is his signature sneaker, when it comes to pleasing average consumers like you and I, these just do not work. The fit is way too specific, and those materials, they just dig into your foot for all the wrong reasons. And overall, I mean, if someone's asking me whether or not they should pick up the Curry 5, I cannot safely recommend these, but that does not mean they won't work for you. They might. I'm just saying there's a high risk and a very high likely risk that they won't. So there you guys have it. That's my review on the Under Armour Curry 5. Obviously, it did not live up to the hype, whatever hype it did have. But if you do have any more questions on this particular model, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll get back to you as fast as I can. If this review helped you out or if you just enjoyed it, please leave me a like. It helps me out a lot. And be sure to subscribe to this channel for more great content just like this. My name's Jaron. It's been great having you. Catch you in the next one. Peace. Kobe AD NXT 360, which is the newest model in the Kobe Bryant signature line, will drop on April 13th for a retail price of $200. Now I know what you guys are thinking, that price is absolutely absurd, but I'm here to ask the question and even try to answer, are the Kobe AD NXTs worth all that cash?